Hey y'all, my name is Taylor. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. So in today's video, I'm going to recommend some books to y'all for the Southern Charm Readathon. So the Southern Charm Readathon is a celebration of all things Southern. It is put on by book lover Amanda. It's her birthday month. This is its third year running. However, she's not planning to do it next year, so if you are at all interested, you should definitely join in this time. There are 6 hosts, or host and co-hosts. Some book lover Amanda's, like I said, she's the main one. Myself included this year, and Lindsay from Instagram, Tammy from the Protagonist Pub, Lauren from Intuitive Reading, and Lucy from the Lucy Chronicles. So I'll have their videos linked down below, so you can check them out and subscribe if you aren't already. So book lover Amanda, she made it very easy to participate this year. I think she really tried hard to make the prompts as open as possible to include the most readers and get participation. But at the very minimum, there is a free space on the bingo board where you can just read a book and you've participated. So I will go through the prompts as I go through the recommendations. But other than that, it's all the month of May in 2025. Pretty much that's it. So the first prompt is Bless Your Heart, a book that tugs at your heartstrings. So for this, I have Pollyanna by Eleanor Parker, I believe. I did not write the author name down. I forgot. But I will have it up on the screen and linked in the description box. In fact, all the books should be linked there. But Pollyanna is a heartwarming story about a young girl. It's a middle grade novel. She is an orphan, and she is sent to go live with her aunt. And the aunt is not a people person. She definitely is not a child-loving person. She's very cold and stingy and just kind of standoffish and, kind of keeps to herself in her big old mansion type of thing. And Pollyanna comes along and just melts her heart along with the entire town. And it's kind of similar to, like, the similar kind of vibes as Anne of Green Gables. So if you haven't read this classic, I would highly recommend you try it out. Personally, I believe it's not as good as Anne, but it does have that similar vibe, and it deserves to be called a classic. The next one I have is The Lady and the Lionheart by Joan Bischoff. This is a historical Christian romance. It is actually one of my favorite books of all time. It is about a young woman who is a nurse, and she meets this person from the circus. She ends up finding out that he is a lion tamer. He tames 3 lions, but he has this little girl, and she's very sick, and she goes and helps nurse her back to health, and she ends up learning about the circus and this guy in particular. His name is Charlie Lionheart, and he has a lot of depths, and he is very misunderstood, and it's her journey to figure out what's going on with him. And I cannot tell you how much faith is in this book. It is truly phenomenal. And there's some difficult topics in this, so I do have Goodreads reviews of all of these, and Storycraft too. But if you are a person that needs to know triggers, I would definitely, this is one that has a pretty hard-hitting one. But the particular part that tugs at your heartstrings is Charlie's character in particular. He is a human, as close as you can get to being a very self-sacrificial person, just as close as human as you can get to what it looks like to try to live like Christ. He's just a phenomenal character. Love him to pieces. He's one of my all-time favorites. What he does for that little girl, oh my goodness, melts my heart. And then The Mark of the King by Jocelyn Green. This is also a historical Christian romance. This is about a young woman that is falsely accused and imprisoned in France, and she is sent to live in the new colony of New Orleans. And this is based on real historical event. where prisoners were forced to marry and immigrate to New Orleans because it was so badly populated. People kept dying. So they were basically desperate and sent the prisoners there. Ended up not being a good idea, but this is this fictionalized story of a young woman who has to get married and has to survive. And this book does not go the way you think it will. It has a particularly hard-hitting topic in this one as well. That's what tugged at my heartstrings. It was very emotional. Definitely recommend if you have trigger points to check out what those are in this one. But you have to get through the hard stuff to get to the good stuff, right? So it has such good faith in this book. Let's see. The next prompt is, will I declare a mystery or mystery thriller book or a book with twists? So I have quite a few in this section. The first two being a duology. So I keep hitting the wall. I'm like right next to it. But anyways, The Mermaid's Tale by Ellie Richmond and its sequel, The Lockett's Revenge. I do recommend reading these back to back. There's a pretty significant cliffhanger in this one. And this is obviously a mermaid story, published by Enclave, so it does have Christian elements in it. It's not like straight Jesus is in the story, but there is a character in this that is a Jesus lookalike, so to speak. But anyways, this one, it's like every single chapter is a plot twist. It kept me guessing. Both books kept me guessing. The plot went, I don't even know where while I was reading it. Like, I was so unexpecting it, on the seat of my pants. Yeah, that's how you say that. It was so good. What it's about, it is about I forget exactly what she's called, but a creature that is a mermaid, but she has legs. And she is very ostracized from society. Her niece gets born with the same condition, and she does not want her to live like she has a life of hardship and just prejudice and just, she doesn't want that for her niece. So she goes on a mission to try and rectify the situation. And I'm not going to say anything more because I think the less you know, the better you will enjoy this book, this duology. And then, let's see. The Kaylee Quinn series by Nancy Mel. Those are Christian romantic suspense. Excellently written. It is about an FBI profiler. I think that's the correct term. But basically, she has this unique ability to visualize in her head the bad guy and figure out his traits based on clues that she sees from case files and things like that. So she visualizes herself eating dinner with this individual, and that's how she narrows down who it is. The first book is about a poem that is sent out, and these people are going to die this way, and then I'm going to come get you, Kaylee Quinn, type of thing. Very gripping. It's a good time if you love that type of genre. And then anything by Mary Meckham. Okay, the woman is an artist at plot twists. Every single one of her books, she has at least one good plot twist. You're like, where did that come from? That is so brilliant. So anything by her, you're good. I haven't read everything by her, to be honest, but I have read quite a few, and every single time I just know there's going to be a plot twist, at least one, and I am never disappointed. Well, look who it is. A book with at least 2 point of views. So for that, I have Waves of Mercy, and honestly, it's sequel to, it's a duology. That is Legacy of Mercy by Lynn Austin. This is a Christian historical. There's some romance in there, mainly Christian historical, but this is a dual timeline. The first one is about an immigrant from Holland, and it starts when she's a young woman, and it kind of goes until she is an old lady. And then the second timeline, there's a young woman who is young when the first one is an old lady, if that makes sense. But the first point of view, like I said, is her journey of immigrating and how hard that was and how it strengthened her faith. And she went through some really hard things. And the second one is about a young woman who's discovering her faith, discovering her past, and how those two are connected. So I made that sound really boring. I promise you this is really good, and it has excellent faith if you like historical fiction. And then let's see. Hope Between the Pages by Pepper Basham. This one is also dual timeline. The first one is about a young woman who is a servant in the Biltmore Estate. I love that place. And she has an encounter with a guest. And that's all I'll say about that one. The second timeline is of a young woman in our time, contemporary times. And she's trying to save her family's bookshop, and she's discovering family secrets along the way. I've said this before on this channel that this has some of the best quotes I've ever read in it. I need to go back in and like reread this and find those quotes, which I'm not a quote person, so that's saying a lot. And let's see, A Brilliant Night of Stars and Ice by Rebecca Connolly. This is a Titanic story. There is a perspective of the ship captain of the Carpathia, which is the ship that rescued the Titanic survivors, and the second one is a passenger on the Titanic. So you get those two perspectives. So good. If you love the Titanic, you should definitely read that one. Pretty much any in the Tethered Hearts series, the Legacy series, I think it is. I'll have both of them up on the screen, but they have dual perspectives for all of those. Those are clean fantasy stories. And then the Once Only Magic in the Building series, which is a contemporary whimsical series about an apartment building that matchmakes, and there's different love stories for each of the books. So you get, I haven't read all of them, but you get the POV of the female and the male, romantic love and romantic. I want to say romantic love. That's the same thing. Yeah, romantic love interest. That still works. Okay, y'all get what I'm trying to say. Let's see. And then the last one I'll say for this is, no, I've got two more in this section actually. Mark of the Raven by Morgan L. Bussey. I think there's 3 or 4 in this series, so one or all of those would count. But this is a fantasy that's published by Bethany House. I thought it was Enclave, but yeah, it's Christian fantasy. It is about a young woman who can walk in dreams and can control how a dream is basically can turn it into a nightmare if she so chooses. And she meets this guy and she walks in his dreams and she figures out something that's different with him. And if you know anything about Christian allegory, you can possibly see why he may be different, and she is curious, and the storyline goes from there. So this one doesn't have too much romance, but the rest of the series does. And then last one for this section is Last Light by Terry Blackstock. This is part of the Restoration series. There's 4 of these. So highly recommend the whole series. Is Christian, contemporary. Well, I don't really know what time it is. It's modern day time. But it is everything with an electrical signal, I guess. Everything electrical goes dead. So cars, airplanes, electricity, obviously, like modern society just stops. And it's about this family, and they are trying to survive, but how can they do that as Christians? And there's point of views from all the family members. There's the parents, and I think there's 3 or 4 kids. And yes, it's really good. Stuff starts happening, crimes are committed, people die. So it's very, very interesting. I took notes on, if, that's my husband. I don't know if you can hear him. He's playing a game in the background, so hopefully you cannot hear him. But anyways, yes, I don't even know what I was saying, but I take notes for, you know, if I need to survive an event, you know. So anyways, going off on a slight tangent there. But next prompt is Home is Where the Heart Is. It's a book set in a small town or has strong family ties. Definitely you could double up on The Last Light or the whole Restoration series, because like I said, there's that family element. They're surviving as a family and growing in their faith as a family. And then Tea Room for Two by Susan Page Davis. This is the first book in the Tea Room mystery series by Guideposts. So this is a very quaint mystery. It's very light. It doesn't have anything like life and death in it. It's just cozy. You know, it's about, you know, theft, stuff like that. But it's about two cousins. They're in retirement age, so as part of their retirement plan, they're both widowed. They decide to open a tea room together, so it has that strong family tie that way. But it is also set in a small town, I think in Maine, and it's very atmospheric. You can picture the quaint little town and the tea room, and it's just, this is a good palate cleanser, just an easy, nice read. And then let's see. Yeah, I would also say Pollyanna would really work for this because the whole town is impacted by her. The Serendipity, well, any of the Only Magic in the Building series, because it's set in, I think it's Serendipity Falls, which is a small town. So, next is Hold Your Horses, a slow burn romance or a book that takes time to unfold. So there's The Wicked Prince by Celeste Baxendale. This is a Robin Hood retelling, where Robin is a girl and then her love interest is Lord John, which is very interesting. But they are enemies in the beginning, and she definitely does not trust him. He kind of blackmails her into marrying him he has reasons that kind of become apparent as the book goes on. But she definitely does not trust him, has opinions about his reputation, and which is why she has acted as the outlaw that she has. So she has to cut through some of her misconceptions about him until they get to the slow burn romance. The If I Run series by Terry Blackstock. This is taken book two by storm a while ago, but it still is pretty prevalent. Like, this is like an OG classic, modern day Christian classic, I think, because it is so good. It's well deserving of that status. But it is about a young woman who her friend is murdered, and she thinks she's going to be framed, and the police are corrupt, so she goes on the run, hence If I Run. But there is this guy that is a private investigator. He is hired by the victim's family to try and find her. And so there's a romance between them, but it is slow burn because he takes a while to find her because she's pretty smart. But this is a trilogy, so I highly recommend you have all of them on deck so you can just binge read them, because you can't read this series any other way. You just can't. Mind Games, well, really the Kaylee Quinn series. It is a slow burn for that one. And then Country Roads Take Me Home, a book in a series or a reread. So I can only recommend, obviously, the book in a series part of it, but the Annie Peterson series by Colleen Coble. This is another romantic suspense book series, and this one is there are some disappearances in the woods. The main character, her sister disappeared a long time ago, and she became a law enforcement officer, kind of in the spirit of that, to try and find her sister who was never found. You know, she disappeared when they were both kids. And it is a second chance romance. And yeah, the whole series is excellent. Legends of Neverland series by Mary Mackham. Nope, it's not Meckham. I know this now. It's Meekum. I have to retrain my brain because she put out an Instagram post saying how to say her name, and I'm pretty sure it's Meekum. Pretty sure. It was not how I've been saying it, at the very least. But anyways, book 1 is Becoming Hook, which is a villainous Peter Pan retelling. So Hook is the hero, Pan is the villain. Hook and Tinkerbell have a romance. And then there is Hunting Sirens, which is gender flipped Little Mermaid retelling. She is deaf, so there's deaf representation in this book, and that was very interesting. Reading a book that has no sound, and yeah, it's something I hadn't read before, and I really enjoyed it. And then Betraying Korth is book 3. It is a villainous Goose Girl retelling. I have not read this one yet, and I think the 4th one is coming out later this year, and I think it is a Cinderella Pirates book. I can't remember right off the bat. I think that's right. Could be wrong. But I do recommend the series. I will read Betraying Korth at some point, but I know it'll be good. I trust her. Also, one of my all-time favorite series is the Children of the Consortium series. Book 1 is Recorder. There's 3 books in the series, but it's by Kathy McCrum. This is Christian sci-fi, light on the science part of it, heavy on the human emotions side of it, human connections. But this is about a young woman that is in a society where she is called a recorder. She has some implants in her brain that kind of help her cut off human emotion to create a clean, unemotional record that is how they keep records in this society. But she's damaged in an incident that happens, and so she is all of a sudden thrust into actually having emotions and seeing what it is to truly be human. And so, of course, this is not okay with the powers that be. So she has survival at stake. She has found family. One of my favorite series of all time. Highly recommend that one. So yes, last prompt is Y'all Come Back Now. It's a book set in the South or in a rural area. So I plan on doing a whole separate other video for books set in the South because I have quite a few that I would like to recommend. So I'll only do the part for rural area, and I only have one for that one that's not also set in the South. So that one is The Smeralda Flower by, I forgot to write her name down. Is it J.R. Flower? Don't know, but it will be in the description box. This one is super short, so you could definitely squeeze this one in. I'm telling you, it only took me a couple hours. Super sweet story. Think a mashup of Phantom of the Opera and Beauty and the Beast. This young woman is a painter, and she is commissioned to go paint this flower at a long off mansion that the owner is very mysterious, and he doesn't like to answer questions. He's very standoffish and only shows up a few times, and she's like, where's the flower? So it is a romance, but it's very cute and very sweet. Recommend that one for sure. And yeah, so that is all of the prompts. I think I hopefully explained everything a-okay. I really hope that you participate in Southern Charm. You would join us. It's super easy, like I said. Let me know if you decide to pick up any of these. I always love hearing if I encourage you to do so. That makes my day. So yeah, let me know if you're participating in Southern Charm as well. Love to hear all the things. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day. Bye, y'all.